All over. All over. Nora, shall you never think of me again?
I dare say I'll often think about you and the children and this house.
May I write to you, Nora?
No. Never. I won't let you.
At least let me send you...
Nothing. Nothing.
Let me help you if you are in want.
I said no. I don't accept things from strangers.
Nora, can I never be anything more than a stranger to you?
Ah, Torvald. Only by a miracle of miracles.
Tell me what that would be.
Both you and I would have to change to the point where... Oh, Torvald, I don't believe in miracles anymore.
But I will believe in it. Tell me. So changed that...
Where we can make a real marriage of our lives together. Goodbye.
Nora. Nora. Empty. She is gone. The most wonderful thing of all.
The classic play A Doll's House is getting a sequel, and you can catch it on a stage nearby. Cole and Hannah join me now with details on a special theatrical performance of A Doll's House Part 2, performed by the University of Alabama's Department of Theater and Dance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So what is A Doll's House Part 2 all about?
Hi, I'm Brooke Caperton. I'm a junior in musical theater here at the University of Alabama, and I've been doing theater since I was about 5 years old.
My name is Aurora Maniscalco. I play Anne Marie in A Doll's House Part 2.
My name's Cole Hintz. I play Torvald in the show. I'm a graduate acting student here at the University of Alabama.
My name is Hannah K. Bradley, and I am a first-year graduate acting student. I started theater when I was about 7 years old, and I've done everything I could over my life that I could get my hands on. It was so fun for me to be able to be kind of wild and zany on stage. Like, I'm a very boisterous person. I talk with my hands. People are always telling me I'm talking too loud. And I'm just very expressive. Even though I'm in the theater, like, I have to like tone that down in a way to fit the character, because I don't play a lot of characters who are super like me. I was a little bit, when the cast list came out, I was like, did you put the right name there? And so it just confirmed for me a lot that I had learned and grown, and that I was able to handle a role of this size with the load of being a grad student as well. So it definitely changed me for the better, and that it gave me confidence. I don't often tell you exactly what I'm thinking, and Nora just will say exactly what she thinks. I value gentle words, where Nora does not. She's unafraid to just be blunt. But I think where we connect is our desire to be seen and understood. I love when Emmy first comes into the room. I loved getting to act across from Brooke. We just fed off of each other really well. Even in the callback. We only read one time, but it was like towards the end of callbacks, and I was like, that was like the most fun I've had all night. Because she just gives you so much to receive and to play off of. But just that I've been all over the stage in 1,000 different ways in the first 3/4 of the show. And then to just like that like palpable awkwardness in that moment where Nora like has absolutely no clue what to do. It was just so fun for me. And there are moments where we just go back and forth super, super fast. And then there are moments where there's like long moments of silence, and playing with that contrast was a lot of fun for me. I got my BA in performance, minors in design and arts administration as well. And I've done some stage managing. So I love it all, and I can't ever really make up my mind on what I want to do. So I do all of it. When I first read the show before auditions, I was like, man, she's kind of annoying. And there are a lot of things that I didn't like about her. And so I loved the show as a whole, but like, and in talking with a lot of people, they were like, yeah, I didn't really like her super much. Because you feel for her so deeply in the first one. And then in this one, you walk in and you're like, chill out. Like, you don't own this place. This is not your home. And so then when I got cast, I got to know her so deeply. And there are moments where I'm like, girl, you should not have said that. Or you need to fix your attitude. Just investigating her so that I could become her and not look down on her for the things she did or think poorly of her because of the things she says, but see where she's coming from and why she says those things and truly like sympathize with her was a challenge for me, but very rewarding. It was a joy to show up to rehearsal every day. And in the beginning stages, when it was just 1 or 2 people, I was like, oh, we're like not complete because not everybody's here. I have not often worked with a group of people who collaborate so well together and feeds off of each other so well creatively. We just had a blast. And there was no nervousness to mess up. Like even when we were up there and we weren't off book yet, and Natasha was like, okay, I want you to hit this point on the page and then drop your script and just go. And the first time we did it, we were all like, what? But just able to go off of each other based on the loose of what we knew of the lines. I clicked so well with Natasha specifically. She would word a note. She'd be like, can you do this, this, and this? And I'd be like, oh, you mean like this? And just like, it just made sense to me the way that she communicated. She just is so encouraging and uplifting in the moments where I wasn't happy with my performance or I was feeling discouraged about a particular aspect of the show. Just her reassurance was what got me through the project. The stories are so powerful. And there is just something so beautiful about sitting in a theater and witnessing a story or being part of a story with other live, tangible bodies. I want to always be doing that and be participating in that. But just as I, was faced with the reality of life and had to actually decide that this was what I wanted to do for a living, just that I think that it's so worth it. It's for everyone. And so even if you think that you can't act, but you want to be involved, I guarantee you can learn to act. And you'll learn something. Or if you feel like performing isn't your thing, there's always something else to be done that is so valuable and artistic as well. Because not a lot of people realize that it's not just the people who are on the stage. So I would say, jump in with both feet. Google search theater around you. One night when I was across from Brooke, and she, as Emmy, was making her monologue about how she wants a marriage because she wants something to stick it out, so that to force people to stick it out. And she's like, do you really want this? She's basically asking Nora, do you really want this? What you're saying. And I think it's the first time Nora has ever questioned what she believes, or that the first time that anyone has ever been able to shake her concrete wall of opinions. And from her daughter. And I think it's just a rare moment of vulnerability for Nora. There's not a lot of times in the show where I was nostalgic or sentimental or emotional, or there was really that moment and then her monologue at the end, which was one of my favorites, because I think it's to get a look inside the shell was great. But that really just like, and I don't even know that I can put it into words, but it made all of what Nora does think kind of clearer to me. And it was this moment of, I love my daughter and I'm sad that I don't get to know her because I like what I see, but also I wouldn't change the decisions that I have made. I don't know, it's this very like vulnerable moment for her that she's having all by herself that she doesn't really let Emmy see, but it's very forming, I think, in her character arc in the play, in terms of like, well, my daughter can put up a fight just like I can, and I love that about her. But also, I'm questioning all these things, but then I'm resolving to still hold to them, and I think that is very powerful.
My background in theater is long running. I got my undergrad BFA in acting as well as directing from Texas State University quite a while ago. And then I was mostly working on films after I graduated, and then now I'm coming back into the world of theater to get my MFA in directing. I am drawn to directing because I love the big picture, and I love the tiny little pieces that create that tapestry and finding ways to interweave design as well as performance, as well as aesthetic, vibe, all of that is really fun to me. Something that's unique to my style as a director is connecting with actors through actor vocabulary. So I understand their language. I was originally an actor, that's my background, so I know how to reach them very quickly, especially when we have limited time on stage and when I'm working on set with actors on camera. It's really efficient that I can just like quickly get exactly what I need from them. We are word perfect true to the script. So when I read the script, I immediately found the humor in it. And I think that any script can be done any various different ways. But when I saw the humor, I really wanted to lean into that. And I also think that that serves our audience today. I think there's a lot of weight in the world right now, and I think a little levity is important. I always anticipate roadblocks. Like, I know they're gonna come, so the way I handle it is to try to be as prepared as possible, so that way when the roadblocks show up, I can quickly pivot, knowing that we have a solid foundation to work from. The most rewarding part of directing A Doll's House Part 2 has been the creative freedom I've been able to experience with the team I'm working with. And I'm very collaborative as a director, and it's been so beautiful to see how every tiny little piece has come together to create this thing that none of us could have imagined on our own. It's something special. I can't even describe it. I think the special thing about theater and being impactful to an audience is that it allows for live connection. So there's something about no show will be the exact same as the last one, so everything is going to kind of be a little bit different, and each audience is going to experience a different moment, and that's what's really exciting to me, is that people will get to come in and sort of let go of the world and live with these beautiful characters and this beautiful set and lighting and costumes and everything, and then leave happy, hopefully.
I think a lot of A Doll's House Part 2 kind of just is a commentary on like how far we need to go as a society, and like how we're still working towards what should be normalized for women. And I think I talked a little bit about it in the talk back, but just like each of those individual women in that play like are trying to find their place in society in the best way that they can find a way. So I think it was just, all of these women are so sure of who they are for the most part. And so it really just, I think everybody should just be able to take a look and be like, okay, like everybody's path is going to be different, but we should all be working towards the common goal of everyone being able to be who they want to be.
That hate it. Mm-hmm. Can we feel that throughout this?
I think I think she's stubborn, but I think she's genius. And I think she is confident I think she's confident, but she's still afraid at a lot of times. But I think it just kind of, she showed me a lot of what it means to be scared and to still be able to stand up and be confident in what you're doing. And so I think as uncomfortable as she was, like she is just like, she knows exactly who she is and who she's going to be. And I think that's what I love to learn from her too.
Like that energy throughout this entire scene. Okay. And keep in mind too that like you have a lot of listening to do. That all that energy still needs to be full throughout the scene. Like even when you don't have dialogue, even when you're just sitting there like.
I love the rest of the cast. I was really, really honored to be chosen for the role because as a musical theater student, I think sometimes, especially in a play as small as that one, you really don't expect to be put in the straight plays. And I never get to work with like the acting students really, or the graduate actors or the graduate directing. Like I just was really honored to be put in a room with them because they're so incredibly talented. And so at first there was a little bit of like imposter syndrome, I think, with me. But the minute I stepped into the room, the way that like everyone was so like welcoming and just encouraging, and I think all of us collectively were like allowing each other the space to explore and try new things and look dumb and just do whatever you really wanted to figure out how you related to each other and like the connection there. And so I don't know, it was just so special. Like there was never a time where I did something and I was like, oh, that was stupid, I looked stupid. Like it was like, this is so exploratory and I'm so comfortable with all of these people. Like genuinely they did feel like family, that I was just like, I could do anything with these people, and like I just love all of them. They're perfect. My older brother got into musical theater and I watched them as in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I was like, this is really fun and I want to do this. But I wasn't old enough to be a part of the children's theater. So I sat with the director every day while I watched my siblings in rehearsal, and I like directed them, even though I was like 4 and probably didn't need to be saying all that stuff. But I was like, I can't see them, I can't do that. So I think a lot of it started like behind the scenes, like directing, and then I was like, I want to do that right now. And lately especially has been a lot of like interest in film and like the intricacies of acting and things like that. But I think every day, like more and more of it becomes something I want to pursue. And I think it really did all start with like children's musical theater. Yeah. Honestly, one of my favorite memories was when we were trying to figure out the laugh. Because I think none of us knew what we were doing, and it really was just like, what are we doing right now? Because we were all sitting in the audience trying to figure out how Nora and Emmy would emulate like the laugh of each other, because we were trying to do a very similar laugh to show that they are so like the same in a lot of ways, but trying to be so different. I think it was really funny because all of us were trying to do the laugh, and then we'd laugh at ourselves doing the laugh in our normal laugh. It was just funny, like all of us kind of breaking out, not knowing anything we were doing or not knowing if it was going to work, but it was really fun. Yeah, there was one night where I was really just like really locked into Hannah and like looking at her, and I got really choked up at the last monologue where she was just like, I don't know, like Emmy tries to be so strong, and I think that night when I was doing the monologue to her, I was just like, this is hurtful, and you hurt me. And there was a very clear intention that night that like, I want you to know that this is hurtful, and I'm still hurt from it, and your decision may have benefited you, but it didn't benefit me. And so that night I really was like, wow, like I was sitting in that chair and I was just like, I've never really like let Emmy be that emotional and like kind of use those words as like no, I'm not trying to hurt you anymore, like I just want you to know that hurt me. So that night really, I think, clicked with me. And I think that was what was kind of cool about the whole process, is like there was not one night where everything happened the same way it happened the night before. So I was always learning on stage with Hannah, and so that was really cool. And I think Emmy, I mean, she's so similar to me in a lot of ways. Like I think it wasn't too hard to kind of be Emmy, because she just is she's so me in so many ways. But I mean, I think she's a lot bolder than I am in a lot of ways. But I think she is just so, she's just so confident and so deeply, deeply emotional, but like that is just for her. And I think she is just so individual in the way that like, I just, like I've said before, like I just think she knows exactly who she is. And that doesn't mean she can't be hurt by things that are said or things like that, but she knows exactly the way she wants to deliver a message and how she wants it to be received. And I mean, she can't expect anything that Nora's going to say to her, but I think, I don't know, like she just has a very special way of being able to like take in what she's given, but be prepared for it in every single situation.
And you can think of length through the crown of the head, like as if I was pulling a hair of yours up and it was pulling you up. Meanwhile, your feet are grounding into the floor, so you have these opposite directions, and your shoulders are drawing away from each other. And then your arms are just an extension of your shoulders. So this is kind of a neutral spot, and we're going to just start to fold forward here at the hips. Let your head just be loose, root into your feet. And then we're going to stand. So start to root into the feet and stand up. Nice. So now we're standing.
I feel like a little, I think just because I'm so used to sitting back on my heels, like unstable. Right. I'm like, I'm going to fall.
Yeah, I know. It feels, it's called debauched kinesthesia. Mm-hmm. So kinesthetic awareness is telling you something different from what is actually happening. Because what's actually happening looks completely normal.
That's crazy.
And you're not gonna, I know, you're not actually going to fall over.
Yeah.
But it's just so different from what you're used to. Here was you have to pull it behind you and to the side.
To the side, okay.
And then we're gonna look at how to sit correctly. But then from there you can kind of lay on it if you want. You can like lean back and whatever. But if it's out of the side and your feet are on the ground and not on top of the skirt, then you can easily stand back up too.
Okay.
So,
because I've just been like lifting it and sitting, and the whole hoop just comes right
it's
up.
with Brooke, we're looking at Emmy like she's kind of like a cat. And she literally is thinking of it as her tail that she takes to the side and then sits down.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's like a tail that you have to take to the side in order to sit. So let's just practice that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then coming back up.
Do you grab it to come back up, or does it just naturally?
I think you just kind of have to have it still a little to the side so you don't step on it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So get down as low as you possibly can.
While holding it still?
While holding it, then release it, then bring a hand down, and then you can sit.
Okay.
So.
It's like lifting the skirt and bustle. Ooh, my balance is really bad.
It's okay. Yeah. How'd that feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were like, it's not that hard to get down here.
No, yeah.
So,
and it's also a lot easier when this is like actually a race.
exactly. You don't have as far to go as all the way
yeah.
down. And then the other thing is in heels, it actually makes it a little bit easier because you're a little bit higher up. So,
when you're first standing up, is it the same thing, or do you just stand
Yeah.
up because it's kind of
So-
out of the way?
let's say it's behind you. You could probably you can come back to this and hold it and then stand. I think that's what Hannah's doing.
Okay.
So you literally are like in a narrow squat going
Yeah.
all the way down.
Just like go to the bottom of the skirt.
Yeah. That looks graceful. Looks good.
So do you want to just like talk me through the cue list?
Sure. Okay. First off, we have the pre-show look. I pulled the gobos for today. Basically, what's happening is on the curtains we have on set, they're like the pretty lightish green color. I've pulled gobos to make it look like they're the Aurora Borealis. I'm gonna set an effect to color switch, and we have gobos are like pieces of metal that you put in the light fixtures. Some pieces are cut out, so light can only get through there.
Yeah,
and
some texture.
Yes, so I pulled gobos to give it the little like line, squiggly, however you want to describe it, texture of the Northern Lights.
Cool.
Then we've just got, the flashing lights to let people know the show's about to start. The curtain speech. In our curtain speech, we have Anne-Marie on stage, like going about and moving chairs and everything. So instead of the house being like an entire blackout, what's going to happen is we have like some like normal inside of the house daylight look kind of going on in the main stage.
Like an amber. Okay.
And the LED lights in the crown molding, they're going to be on. They're going to be like blue. Cool. And behind the door, like behind the set, we have 3 LED lights that are going to be the same blue that will make the windows and door glow.
Love.
Okay.
Cool. And will it stay blue when Nora arrives?
When Nora gets there, we're going to change it to be like a white of surprise. We have a fixture hung on like a boom, which is basically just a pole. So you can put the fixture at like head height or wherever at about 5 feet, so we can get a silhouette of Nora's face appearing in the window too.
Great.
So the next lighting change we have is when Nora says that she's not the same person as she was when she left the house like 15 years prior. When that happens, we have a certain color that's associated with Nora That's like the like like mostly red, a little bit of like it's pretty much red. It's a little bit off of red, but it's pretty much red. That we have associated with her.
Cool.
Feminism and how like she left and became her own person instead of trapped under men her entire life. So the first time we see that color is when she's like, yeah, I'm my own woman now. When Anne-Marie is like, oh, you must have been lucky, instead of saying that like Nora made a life for herself. Yeah. Instead of calling her resourceful, Nora's response of lucky has a change in the... Wait, I'm not supposed to acknowledge the camera.
Wait, what's up?
I'm not supposed to acknowledge the camera. I looked and pointed. Okay.
We'll get going for the day. So this is our opening up duties, and when we get here at 12, they clock in here, the practicum students, and then we just get ready for the day. Perfect. And then I'm gonna hook this back up here. And then first things first, we always just get logged into the computers and make sure we're ready to go and set up for anybody who walks up. Allison, actually, I'll have Allison do voicemails. Okay. So we usually check our voicemails when we get here first thing, just if anybody called after hours, that way we can make sure, yeah.
Hello, enter your ID, followed by pound.
UA Theater Dance Box Office.
Hello, to send a message, press 7.
Okay, cool.
5.
That's it.
Voicemails?
Yeah, no voicemails. This is our ticket printer, so we always connect the desktop to the printer if anybody comes up and buys tickets and they want them printed out right then versus coming later to get them at will call. We get that ready for them. So a lot of what we do is just kind of like hurry up and wait. We do a lot of just sitting and waiting, but then every once in a while we'll get a call or somebody walk up to the office and get some tickets. So yeah, this is our little place. All of this signage just kind of helps for us, whether it's phone call stuff or anything else. This is just kind of for the practicum students and for myself. Yeah, we have different supplies here, different kind of office things. Nothing too fancy. These are our scanners for the shows. So they're like an iPhone interface, and they scan the tickets for performances. So we keep them charged up here. And let's see, I'm trying to think of interesting things to show you. This is kind of, safe stuff. So when we have cash sales, I kind of have to deal with that. These are our cats in the ticket office. So we have fun here. We have all of our cats and everything. Just kind of more stuff. Oh, this will be interesting. Here, I'll close this if you want to. Again, another cat. This is kind of all of our scheduling stuff. There's 16 students, practicum students that I manage. So yeah, they all have different schedules and availability. So they are staffing the office Monday through Friday, 12 to 4 every week. So I gotta keep that in track. This is what we call our mobile ticket office, which is basically if we do a show at the AB, at the Alan Bales Theater, which is where Doll's House will be, we essentially pack up all of this, which is what we have in the office, but smaller, and able to pack it up and take it over and set up a table in front of that theater. So like I said, this is like ticket printer, but just a smaller version of our giant one. And then we have laptops versus desktops. And so this lives here until it's time for the show, and then we get everything packed up. And again, it's just like the miniature version of everything we have in this office. So yeah.
Spend hours on the carpet. I think that my head is bleeding. You tell me I look like a nightmare, but baby you look like a daydream. I know I really shouldn't be here, sugar in my coffee, 'cause you don't give me any lately. And when it's over, swear that I'll end up alone. I'm so sick and stuck.
So I would say this show definitely got me a lot. It got me just out of my comfort zone in general. I think whenever I first came into college and into the program, and even like last year and the year before that, I always thought that I was more of a dramatic, like, not depressing, but kind of those more like really sad roles and everything. And I didn't think that I could do something like Anne-Marie. And I actually got to work with Natasha before for a directing scene for a class, and that also just kind of got me a little bit prepared to see how she might do the show and everything. And I just got so out of my comfort zone, which helped me a lot, and I think also helped me in many ways in student organizations that I was a part of, in classes, and me speaking up for what didn't feel right or what could help me more and things like that. And so I really got out of my comfort zone, which I think some people should get out of their comfort zone in certain circumstances. And so that show did that for me. Favorite part of the show? Everything about the costumes and the way that we kind of incorporated the 80s, like 1980s, mixed with all of like the period pieces of the costumes and everything. It was just so interesting and so cool. It was awful to get my hair and makeup like off of my face and like wash my hair, because my hair smelled like burnt chicken. I kid you not, for like 3 weeks at least. And like after, I would like, it felt so nice to not have my hair smell burnt. But it was just so fun to do like the hair and makeup and see that process of everybody getting into it. And everybody, even who came to see the show, they were just so surprised with the costumes and how like just amazing they were and how they fit, but also how we would have, you know, the crimped hair and my hair was so curled and so frizzy, but it worked for what the vision that Natasha had. And so I would have to say, just having it like look so good, and all of like our photos that we got taken, they were incredible. And even some of the costumes and a lot of the makeup, we got to have a little bit of say in and ask like, hey, would this look good? So that was also really, I really appreciated how we kind of got to ask questions and like say why we think it would work for our character. For me, when I first initially read the play before even auditioning, every thing that I would read about A Doll's House Part 2 or production pictures that I would see, Anne-Marie is an old lady, and I'm 22. So I didn't know what the vision was at first. And so then whenever I got the part, I was like, am I going to be in old age makeup? And like, we had no idea. And Natasha and I even talked about it, and Natasha was like, we're just going to create her and we're going to make Anne-Marie what you want to make her. And so it was just like, we didn't really like hit the nail on Anne-Marie probably until we got into Alan Bales. The advice I would give is to not think so much about what other people are doing and what you're not doing. I think it's hard to, I think it's very easy to get into your own head a lot, especially with how intimate performing and being an actor is. You're literally standing on a stage in front of, maybe it's one person that you're auditioning for, but if you're on a stage, maybe performing in front of a sold out house, or maybe performing in front of, 50 people. So be it. Like, you cannot think so much about what other people are doing. I think you need to be okay with yourself and trying to learn about yourself. And it's not going to come very easy. I think it does take time to kind of find out what you like about performing and kind of figure out those things, but also just not comparing yourself to those people who may be in a show, but you're not. It's okay. As long as you have the passion for it, just like this person who is performing in a show, you both have the passion for it and you're going to get your time at some point. So don't be stressing too much about what you're not doing, and just, as long as you're auditioning and you're watching plays, you're watching movies, you're still actively doing something to put forth effort into performing and acting and what you want to do in life. So that's what I would say.
It's such an interesting show because this show deals with such heavy topics, but in such a light way, and maybe even an irreverent way. But that really, like, having that wittiness that Lucas Nath, the playwright, brings to it, it allows for a heavy conversation to really be put on the forefront and have questions asked. So what I'm talking about with a heavy conversation is really, to me, the core of the show is dealing with marriage and divorce. And what does that look like? What is the gender roles in marriage? And where is the place of a man and a woman in this marriage that we're dealing with Torvald and Nora? And to me, it helped open up a conversation about it for audience members. And that's what I loved so much about it, and what made me dig into the show and really love it from the get-go was the fact that we were dealing with these heavy topics, and you could come into the room with two different perspectives and still be able to totally commit to the show and be part of the show, because it doesn't say one way is wrong over the other, but opens the door to wonderful discourse. I think we are in an age where it's very easy to shut down conversation, especially with someone you disagree with, and I think it's just so valuable that an audience member could sit there and be fully with Nora and say, I should be able to have a divorce for any reason at all. And then somebody could be there and be more on Torvald's side and see the aspect of, no, there's value of sticking in a marriage, even if it isn't perfect, and that two people will change in a marriage. And that's what you married, is that change, and that's okay too. And that those two people can have those two different perspectives coming in, and they might still hold those perspectives, but they can turn to each other and ask questions about, why do you think that? And be able to have that good conversation that I think we sometimes lack now. Playing Torvald and the challenge with him, I feel, is the likability of him. The common trap that happens in Doll's House, the original one by Ibsen, is that he's just this oppressive, domineering force that, if he's played just as such a villain, it makes it so uncompelling and dynamic, I would say, as a story. And it's finding his humanity, even though he has all these faults and flaws like everybody does, where is that love and that desire for Nora, and how does that make it all that more heartbreaking for the audience? Because while they see him and they're like, why'd you say that, or why'd you do that? But then they're like, but why is she leaving you? And you have this just dynamic going on. And so bringing that idea of his faults from the first into the second, into part two here, it was really about, thinking about, where is the brokenness that he has from the first one? How has he healed or tried to heal from that? And where has he still not been able to heal, and has those flaws still shine through, because we're all human and we're all broken, and we all do things like that, and it just on different degrees. And so it was seeing, where is he at now in this place, and how has he found a new meaning of marriage, and bringing that in. There are a lot of good, memorable moments, I feel like, for me, in just kind of each part of the process. I really enjoy being able to look back and reflect on a process. And so from our first, read-throughs to getting up on our feet and really starting to block the show, and getting that first run in pretty quickly, where we're just having fun and exploring different choices. And having breakthroughs on taking it in a different direction and enjoying that was a very big moment for me. When Torvald has his whole clerk monologue, the recap of getting the divorce papers, we were doing that in a very different direction initially, or at least I was taking it one way and things just weren't clicking quite right. And so it was, you know, a little frustrating to not have it click right away. But that's part of art, is failing with it and having fun with that. And so working with Natasha and being like, let's take it in this other direction and let's be larger than life with it and let's go explore it this way. And being able to take that in the room and then flip it and explore it that way, it was really fun to then get up to that moment in another run and run through that monologue and it just feel oh so right. And another great memory would be having all the design elements come together is just always, I feel like in any process for me, one of my favorites, because you become the character. You have the costume on, you got the lighting, you've got the set. Everybody who's poured so much time into the show, everybody's work's paying off together, and that's honestly one of the most rewarding times. I feel that, you know, Torvald, one difference that I would hope is Torvald tends to be a little selfish still. I try to not be so selfish and selfless is what I like to lead with in life. I'm not perfect, so I don't always do that, but that is one thing that I at least don't think Torvald is always fully self-aware of, how some of his comments come across. I try to be tactful with my speech. I think he's tactful sometimes, but not always. He says some things and then I don't think realizes like, oh, and I mean, we're all human. We all do that. But I think one thing that I admire about the change in his character in part 2 is his desire for fighting for a marriage. That a marriage is going to have its ups and downs, its ins and outs. You're going to, you know, it's talked about in the show that in a negative way from Nora of you marry someone and they're different 10, 20, 30 years from now. And that's a beautiful thing in marriage, I think. I think it's the exact opposite, that isn't a bad thing. That's to be expected. Why would I want somebody to be stagnant for their entire life and be the same person? I want to see that my wife grow and change and have that, you know, dynamic to her life, and that she will be different. And it's a joy to be able to love her in every stage of life, and that she's this different person. But I married her to be that different person, and to take that journey with her is amazing. And it's to be honest with each other, to be able to spend time together, to figure out how to be around one another. And it's to grow that life together. And it's not a bad thing that we're both growing a life together and that it is fused together because we're both sacrificing for each other. I don't know that Torvald fully says he wants to sacrifice for Nora, but I think that he doesn't have to say that, at least when I was approaching the character. I think that undergirds why he's fighting for what he's fighting for, is that he realizes now, I'm different. I wasn't sacrificing the way I should have before. I want to own up to that. I want to sacrifice for you now. And I think that that's a wonderful similarity.
Congratulations to everybody. It was really a joy to watch. So thank you so much for that. I want to start by asking about the various times that this piece lives in. So let me get my dates right. The original, A Doll's House by Ibsen, right, written in 1879. The events of the play take place 15 years later, 1894. Mm-hmm. We have some 80s references happening. We have very contemporary, sort of like 2020s language happening. So can you talk to me a little bit about some of the design choices that are being made to try to bring all of those times into conversation with each other?
Sure. So I'm Natasha, I'm the director, and that was an important part of this, was to show the kind of timelessness behind some of the issues that are heavy, that we're approaching in a light manner. So Nora was gone for the 1880s, so we were like, let's take music from the 1980s. And that was her sort of liberation as she figured out who she was. And it does continue into the language of today. It is written in a very contemporary style, and we also made sure to include physicality that was of today and contemporary, while the costumes are silhouetted of the Victorian era.
Thank you. And then I wonder, so we have all the actors on stage, yes? Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I see everybody. So y'all are students, undergraduate and graduate, right? So you're kind of in this liminal space where you've like maybe just struck out from your family of origin for the first time, but you're also maybe looking towards the future where you might be forming your own family. So I'm curious whether any of the conversations in the rehearsal room or any of your preparation for your role sort of put things in a different light for you in terms of thinking about the role of gender in family dynamics, the family that you might want to start one day.
I think I can. So for me, I play Anne Marie, and Anne Marie in the first play by Ibsen is like rarely mentioned at all. She's in one scene and then like that's it. So when talking about Anne Marie, we kind of got to explore a lot more with her and with her backstory about being there for Nora as a young girl and also raising her children and essentially raising Torvald. And so for me, I spoke a lot about my mom because I come from a military family. And so my dad was not there a lot because he was, doing his job. And so my mom was there for us and she kind of took hold of a lot of things. And so that's kind of what I thought about a lot of times, especially like bringing in like, this is what my mom would do. And she would kind of say things like this and do that. So that's kind of what I took from it.
I can definitely agree with that. There's one specific line in the show where Nora says, "I know," and that was definitely 100% how I say "I know" to my mom all the time. Because of that, like very mother-daughter like relationship between Nora and Anne Marie. And Natasha does such a wonderful job of like helping you pull from real life experiences that apply to what's going on and being able to use that, not in a harmful way, but I can think of one time specifically, we were talking about the moment when Torvald comes back and I was all like, Nora's like loving that she's in control of the situation and like she knew she was coming, Torvald didn't know she was coming. And she kind of like posed a question, I don't remember, that made me think of someone I had dated and a time he had appeared somewhere that I completely was not expecting him to be there. And I had like had my hands on the table and I was like in this really like stiff position and she was like, stop that. She was like, that's what I want. And so, yeah, I think it was really lovely to just like have her pull from coach us through pulling from our lives to fuel what's going on in this show.
So much. Good directing.
Thank you.
So I wonder, for those who have not read the play before, Nath, the playwright, uses prolifically, I would say, sort of ellipsis beats, right? So if you're looking at the page, it'll have, Nora, ... Torvald, ... Nora, ... Torvald, ... right? For sometimes pages at a time. So I'm really curious in your process how you found what would live in those silences.
When I first read the script, I was like, oh, they make out. And that's not in the script. That's all ellipses. And I was like, oh, like this is an intensity that like builds to this moment. When we first did the table read, I wasn't entirely sure what to do, so we did snaps. So anybody that had an ellipses, we would snap. And then we would throw an intention behind that snap, and then we would figure out what that evolved to once we got to our feet. But the actors all brought fantastic, clear, and specific intentions, so that was easy to translate to the stage.
One thing we did do a lot was, before we were off book, we would drop our scripts and just improv. And she would have us like start at a point in the script, and then she was like, once you get to a point where you don't know the lines anymore, just keep going. And I think for me personally, I found a lot of those like in that moment where I didn't know what the words were, and I was still trying to like get the point across or carry it along. So that was very helpful.
And then I also am curious, when you're talking about the different times that are in conversation with each other, how some of these problems are really timeless, right? Nath is sort of building on the idea of the discussion play that comes out of Ibsen's tradition of exploring a social problem, examining it really under great scrutiny through a very plot-driven drama. And so Nath gives us, right, all of these points of view, each of which have a particular truth to them. So my question is for the actors, for each of you in your roles, what was one moment where you really felt like the thing that my character is saying right now is truth, right?
I mean, I think for each of us, especially the women in the show, this is like a feminist piece, and I think I thought a lot about how these individual women each had to find their specific way in this time where they weren't allowed to do these things. So Nora's gone off and found her way, and Emmy's had to find her own individual way, which in that way it is, you know, being engaged to a wealthy man who can give her what she wants. But I mean, I'd imagine that Emmy any day would like the life that Nora has, but what is secure to her in her life right now is Jorgen. So it was interesting to like think about that for us, I think. I don't know, that just came to mind for me. So yeah.
Sure. I feel like it kind of boils down for Torvald to me in the near the very end of the play, where he talks about what a true marriage is, when he asks Nora, is that a true marriage? Two people spending time together, figuring out how to be around each other. And I think that that's key at the heart of him, of trying to give a voice into that, because I feel that Nate's wrestling, as you were mentioning with Ibsen, making it very much a discussion piece. And I feel like today there's plenty of discussions about what is a good marriage look like? What is divorce? How does that fit into the just social context of what we're living in, and what... And I feel like people can walk in, and Nate also talked about this in an interview that really influenced me with the show, is he talks about he wants discussions from the play as you walk out the door, that there might be disagreements, that somebody might come in here and feel very strongly that divorce is not acceptable, and that marriage, when you're in a marriage, you're in a marriage, and that there's other people that are going to feel that you can have a divorce for any reason, and that is okay. And that those two people can sit down in a chair, and you can be sitting right next to someone, and that you can have that disagreement and have that dialogue. And I think that is what's able to happen really with Nora and Torvald on stage. And I think that that's a very powerful thing to be able to have that kind of dialogue and discussion.
I think for me, actually, it's the in the middle of her big 3-page long monologue to Anne-Marie. She is, I am up against the chair, and I'm talking about how inside of us we ache for more, and this ache is at the core of who we are, because I think ultimately that each of us is made for something that cannot be found in another human being, or even really inside of ourselves. And so I think I let that, and that search for Nora, that's Nora searching for that really drive a lot of what she's doing and saying throughout the play.
Well, can you all join me one more time in giving them a round of applause?
I do want to point out Marley's lights. So Marley did a great job with the lights. So
Thank you all so much for coming out tonight, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'd like to chat more with you about the certificate too, because I've been studying it.
Hi, John David. I can figure out.
I could be in your arms without
could feel the knots within your hair, or I could be a million miles away. Find some covers, some cash, another place to stay. For all the things that I must do, or I could lay cozy next to you, and every night I'll share a dream where I see all I could be. But what of it? What of it if you are next to me?
Just the night. Hold me, baby, hold me tight. I could be your guy for just a day. Hold me close, 'cause if you don't, I'll run away. Yeah, it's been a while since I see you, girl. I'm feeling lost without you in my world. Baby, you know that you rock my world. I miss your eyes, your smile, your curls. I know that you're the one. How do I tell you, baby? I know you're my fire. You keep me alive. You keep me warm. Why am I so cold?
What do I mean if I stay? I'll share your spot for food with my cafeteria tray. Every day I'll share a dream, so I've chosen to be me. And I'll be just as tired, just as tired, tired as if I were to leave.